Time for another drawing, and this time we'll add an area light. So what I want you to do now is start the block tool and draw me a block which is 7 foot long, 2100 millimeters, by 5 foot wide. That's 1500 millimeters. There we go. There's my block. And now I want to draw 3 separate objects. I'm going to change the color to red. Now I've got my solids tools here, and I'm going to work with the slab solids. And I'm going to draw a cube, which will be 1 foot or 300 millimeters on each side. So that will be 1 in my case. It's there. This will be 1 as well. That takes care of that. And I want it 1 deep as well. That's there. I also want to draw a cone, which will be a yellow cone. So let's do that. Now I'm going to go to cone solids. So I'm making my base a 9-inch radius. So that will be 0.75 on my keyboard. There's the radius, and let's make the height 18 inches. So the 1.5, there's my yellow cone. And now I'm going to make a green sphere. So green, and off we go to sphere. Let's draw the sphere 18 inches high, 1.5 at my keyboard. Let's move all of these onto the block. So off we go to that. Start with the cube, and we want to do a move. Pick up this corner, go to that corner, hit O, put the compass there, top orientation, and then I can move it into the view there. Repeat the process with the sphere. I'm going to be a little careful here. Catch that round about there. Pick that up. Let's drop this on this corner. O key again. Move this one in a little bit to say about there. And finally the cone. Let's move that one too. Let's pick it up at the center. Start in this corner. O key. Bring it in. Somewhere about there. That'll do fine. Now let's do a quick check with the rotate. Don't want these things off the board. No, we're all nicely flat to the board. That's good. Let's add a couple of lights. So I'm going to go back to construction, and let's change the weight to 0. Color white. Line tool. And the first one I'm going to draw is from this corner here. And I'm going to draw this 5 foot long. So I'm going to switch to polar compass and to 5. There's 5 foot, or 1500 millimeters if you wish. That's data point about there, and change that to vertical. Take that up another 5 there. So there's my baseline for that. Now again, don't forget that you don't need these construction lines necessarily. You can use AccuDraw. I'm just using them so we can see where the placements are. Another line from here, vertically. And let's make this one 8 foot high, or 2400 millimeters. So let's go to 8 on that, and just leave it there. And now I'm going to draw a block here, which will go from there and in top orientation. And let's make this 2 foot square. So 2, tab, and 2. There's my 2 foot square. Now this will be the element that I'm going to use for an area light, and you'll see how this works in a second. Okay, let's start to add some lights. Place light. We have a spotlight, so we're going to place another spotlight. Color of this will be back to white. That will do. That's okay. We'll leave everything else as it is. Maybe I'll take that to 30, a little wider angle. And this one we're going to place here. Let's aim it at the top of the cone, right there. Okay, that's good. I'm still dragging this light icon around, and I could place another one if I wanted to. But I don't want that. I want to change this to an area light. Now in this case, I want to select a fluorescent, and I'm going to have to select a 34 watt fluorescent. That's the largest one they've got in the presets. Everything else is fine. Notice there is no cone here at all because it's not a cone, it's simply a flat fluorescent light. And the prompt says identify element to convert, meaning convert to a light. That's that one. Notice that we can change the direction of the light. We want it downwards, data point, and there's our light in place. Now you won't see anything much here at all. Now we can do a render. So I'll get rid of that. Use fence. Let's render that. Start the render tool. Off we go. There. Let's change the brightness. There. Not too bad. You can see the shadow for the spotlight off in the corner here. And if you look carefully, you can see the fainter shadow for the overhead light. So far, so good. Move this over a little bit. Go to the light manager. Notice we have a new spotlight number 2 and a new area light. Select that. It's popped into place. Let's turn that off. Let's do another render. Notice now that we have quite stark shadows with no smaller shadows underneath because that light has disappeared. Let's go back again. Let's turn the area light back on. Let's turn this spotlight off. That's the previous one we used. Don't want that one. That's the very first one we used. Don't want that one. But we do want this one. That one's going to go off as well because all I want to see is just the area light. Let's render again. And now I see the same thing, but now with just the area light. And it's a very soft, fairly non-dynamic render, as you can see. And again, we only have the shadows from the overhead light. And notice now that you can go backwards through each of the previous renders. Let's go back up again. So try that too. We have turned off all of these spotlights, but we could, if we wanted to, make a selection set of all 3 of those spotlights, and we can turn them on all at once. All 3 are on, or all 3 are off. So you don't have to do this individually. Make a selection set if you have sufficient lights to do so. Now don't forget you can change the sharpness of a shadow. We can have it very sharp, coarse, medium, fine, etc., etc. Or you can change it to a custom sharpness. If we pick on the area light, notice that we only have 1 bulb in place, but we could add more. And this is again typical for a fluorescent light where the fixture may have 1 bulb in it, or 2, or even 4 bulbs in it. Obviously that will affect the quality of the render and the brightness of the objects. Try that too. Assume this is now a typical 2-lamp fixture and see what happens. So, as usual, please practice. In the next video, I want to do a very quick look at how to save the renders to files.